Hello, today me, Nian Wu Wei, and my group member Chenin Nat Tiang Nuam are going to present our term project Mars Space Camp. The software we used were SolidWorks 2020 and SolidWorks Visualize Professional 2020. Mars Space Camp is a bold vision for life beyond Earth's orbit. It is developed by Lockheed Martin and it is a vehicle for transporting astronauts from Earth to a Mars orbiting science laboratory. Here, they will perform real-time scientific exploration, analyze samples, and prepare for landing on the Martian space. First of all, I would like to talk about Central Node, which is an observatory module for Mars imaging and analysis. Also provides secondary command and control. Central Node has a cylindrical shape, so we firstly plan to draw the half of the model on front plane in sketch mode with line tool. Then in feature mode, click Revolve tool, choose axis of revolution and get the 3D model.
Excursion model. It is an airlock model with advanced EVA packs for exploration of low gravity bodies. We start drawing it on the front plane. We draw the line from the origin, then drag it to the height of it, and draw other line to the shape of the cross-section area of excursion model. Then, using trim entities to cut out the other line that we don't want. Then we use the revolved boss base command to use the vertical line in the middle as the axis of revolution. Select the contour area and revolve it for 360 degrees. After creating the body, we move to the head of it. We draw the straight vertical line, then connect with the curved line using the spline tool. Again, using the revolve command, but in 180 degrees. Now we change to the right plane. We draw the triangle between those two lotus lights, then selecting extruded cut, changing the direction from blind to mid-plane so that it can extend from the plane to each side equally. Make sure that it goes beyond the edge of the object you want to make a hole.
As the central node door looks like two cylinders with smaller one on the top of the bigger one, we drew big circles on the top plane with circle tool and extruded. Next, we drew another smaller circle on the top plane on the bigger cylinder and repeat the same step. Lastly, for the edge of the top cylinder, we drew it on the right plane. Long narrow rectangle with pointy triangle-like shape, and after we got the surface, revolved it with Revolve tool in the feature mode.
Satellite dish is the tool for receiving any signals or information around the Mars Base Camp. In sketch mode, we create straight line first, then using spline tool to create the curved line. When it looks good enough, use the offset tool and thick reverse so that it will offset inside. After joining all the lines together, we'll get the surface. Then revolve it about the horizontal line at the bottom for 360 degrees. Change the plane to the right plane. Then create a small circle in the middle of the plate. Extrude it out to the top plane. After that, change back to the front plane and draw the circle at the tip of the extended rod and revolve it around the diameter.
There are two Mars laboratories in Mars Space Camp. One is a living space, which is an additional crew area for exercise, relaxation, storage, and in-space food production, whereas another one is for housing scientific equipment, sample analysis tool, and workstations. The Mars Lab allows astronauts to remotely pilot drones and rovers on Mars in real time. To draw the laboratory, we drew the outline of the laboratory first with line tool in sketch mode on the right plane. For the curvy structure, we used a spline tool and then trim out the unwanted lines, then revolve after choosing the axis of revolution to create the 3D model. For the square window, we first drew an inner square on the front plane in sketch mode. Then by using the offset tool, we select all the lines of the smaller square, set the dimension, and drew the outer square. After we got the shape, click the edge that we drew just now and extrude in features mode.
For round window, on the front plane we draw two circles at the same center but with different radius. When we get the side that we are pleased from the two circles, then we do the extrude at the outer circle, which is going to be the window frame. Habitat. Along with Orion and the living space, the habitat modules provide storage, living, sleeping, and working space for the crew. In sketch mode, we draw the line on the front plane to the length of the object that we assume. Then we create all the lines to the shape that we want. But since the shape of habitat is symmetrical, so we decided to create the line at the midpoint of the top line. Then use the mirror tool to reflect all the lines that we created. We adjust its shape a bit, then using trim entities to cut out all the unwanted lines. Then using revolve boss blade again, select the contour region, which is the inside of the shape, then revolve it around the straight horizontal line at the bottom for 360 degrees.
Orion is the command and control heart of the orbiting spacecraft, housing vital navigation, communication, and life support for 1,000-day missions. Also keeps astronauts safe on re-entry through Earth's atmosphere. Like the other models, we drew the outline first, trimmed out the unwanted part, and used the revolve tool to convert to 3D drawing after choosing axis of revolution and select the region to revolve for 360 degrees. Orion solar panels are really easy to draw as it is a thin, square-based cuboid. On the top plane, we drew a square and then extrude.
Cryostage propulsion. These propulsion units provide high-powered thrust, propelling the spacecraft from lunar orbit all the way to Mars. The cryostages also allow the Orion spacecraft to separate and conduct excursion mission to the moon of the Mars. First, we draw the horizontal line to assume the length. At a certain point, we draw the arc of circle and trim the beyond arc out. Then, draw the straight line again and add more details by digging it down a bit for 2 times. Then we draw the vertical line, which is the highest height of the cryostage propulsion. Then do the inclined line connect to the vertical line and the origin points. Then we get to the shape we want. We use trim entities to cut out all the unwanted lines again. Then revolve around the bottom straight line for 360 degrees. Cryostage end. We first draw straight horizontal line, then add vertical line at the origins and also at the end of the horizontal line, but at the end will be higher. Then use the spline tool to draw the curve from the top of the line of the origin to the top of the line at the end point. After that, we use offset with the reverse option and choose the smaller line and the curve so that it will create these 2 lines inside the shape we draw. Then use trim entities to trim out the unwanted line again. Then we use revolve around the little horizontal line at the origin for 360 degrees oxygen and hydrogen tanks. These zero boil-off tanks contain fuel and oxidizer for the journey to and from Mars. Additionally, they serve as radiation shielding for the habitat models, helping to protect the crew from solar flare and cosmic radiation. First, we draw a semicircle with a suitable radius in the front plane. Then, use the revolve again, choose its diameter as the axis of revolution, and revolve for 360 degrees.
We drew a line first on front plane, then 2 circles with same radius on the end of the line. Next, we increased the length of the line to create a space between the 2 circles and drew 2 lines to connect the top arc of the circles. After that, we trimmed out the unwanted parts. When we got the surface, we used the revolve tool, choose the axis, and select the area to revolve and create a 3D model.
Solar arrays. These generate the power for spacecraft operations and the solar electric propulsion engines. We create decagon using polygon tool and extrude it out. Then for solar array stand, we change the plane to the right one, then create the right triangle with the rectangle shape on the top using trim entities to cut other lines. Then offset the shape inside and extrude the outer one. We add more details on the solar plate by changing the plane back to the front. Then draw rectangle from center of the decagon to each corner. After that, we extrude it.
Radiators provides cooling for crewed areas, sensitive electronics, and assist with gyropropellant cooling. Radiators have zigzag shapes, so on the right panel, we drew zigzag line and offset it. And after we got a surface, we extruded.
Then we do assembly part in the SolidWorks Visualize Professional 2020 by importing all the model parts we did in the SolidWorks 2020, then attaching it to each other, recolor, reshape, resize, and add more small details. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you.